Pan Am Flight 103 was a regularly scheduled Pan Am transatlantic flight from Frankfurt to Detroit, via London and New York City. On the 21st of December 1988, Clipper made of the seas. The aircraft operating the transatlantic leg of the route was destroyed by a bomb, killing all 243 passengers and 16 crew. In what became known as the Lockerbie bombing, large sections of the aircraft crashed onto a residential street in Lockerbie, Scotland, killing 11 people on the ground, with a total of 270 fatalities. It is the deadliest terrorist attack in the history of the United Kingdom. Following a 3-year joint investigation by Dumfries and Galloway Constabulary and the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, arrest warrants were issued for 2 Libyan nationals in November 1991. In 1999, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi handed over the 2 men for trial at Camp Zeist, Netherlands, after protracted negotiations and UN sanctions. In 2001, Abdelbaset al-Maghrahi, a Libyan intelligence officer, was jailed for life after being found guilty of 270 counts of murder in connection with the bombing. In August 2009, he was released by the Scottish government on compassionate grounds after being diagnosed with prostate cancer. He died in May 2012 as the only person to be convicted for the attack. In 2003, Gaddafi accepted responsibility for the Lockerbie bombing and paid compensation to the families of the victims, although he maintained that he had never given the order for the attack. Acceptance of responsibility was part of a series of requirements laid out by a UN resolution in order for sanctions against Libya to be lifted. Libya said it had to accept responsibility due to Maghrahi's status as a government employee. During the first Libyan civil war in 2011, former Minister of Justice Mustafa Abdul Jalil claimed that the Libyan leader had personally ordered the bombing, though this was later denied. While investigators have long believed that Maghrahi did not act alone, and have been reported as questioning retired Stasi agents about a possible role in the attack, some relatives of the dead, including the Lockerbie campaigner Jim Swire, believe the bomb was planted at Heathrow Airport and not sent via feeder flights from Malta. As the US and UK claim, a cell belonging to the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine had been operating in West Germany in the months before the Pan Am bombing. On the 32nd anniversary of the bombing, the 21st of December 2020, Muhammad Abuajla Masood was charged in the US for having built the bomb that destroyed the aircraft and acting as a co-conspirator. The aircraft operating Pan Am Flight 103 was a Boeing 747-121, registered N739PA and named Clipper made of the seas. Prior to 1979, it had been named Clipper Morning Light. It was the 15th 747 built, and was delivered in February 1970, 1 month after the first 747 entered service with Pan Am. In 1978, as Clipper Morning Light, it had appeared in Conquering the Atlantic, the 4th episode of the BBC television documentary series Diamonds in the Sky. Presented by Julian Pettifer, Pan Am 103 originated as a feeder flight at Frankfurt Airport, West Germany, using a Boeing 727. Both Pan Am and TWA routinely changed the type of aircraft operating different legs of a flight. PA 103 was bookable as either a single Frankfurt-New York or a Frankfurt-Detroit itinerary, though a scheduled change of aircraft took place in London's Heathrow Airport. Upon arrival at Heathrow Terminal 3 on the day of the disaster, passengers and their luggage as well as an unaccompanied interline luggage on the feeder flight transferred directly onto Clipper made of the seas, whose previous flight had originated from Los Angeles and arrived via San Francisco. The aircraft, which operated the flight's transatlantic leg, pushed back from the terminal at 18:04 and took off from runway 27R at 18:25. En route for New York JFK Airport and onto Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport. Contrary to many popular accounts of the disaster, the flight, which had a scheduled gate departure time of 1800, left Heathrow Airport on time. After the bombing, the flight number was changed, in accordance with standard practice among airlines after disasters. Within days, the Frankfurt-London-New York-Detroit route was being served by Pan Am Flight 3. At 1858, the aircraft established two-way radio contact with Chinook Oceanic Area Control in Prestwick on 123.95 MHz. The Clipper Maid of the Seas approached the corner of the Solway Firth at 1901 and crossed the coast at 1902 Coordinated Universal Time. On scope, the aircraft showed transponder code O squawk 0357 and flight level 310. At this point, the Clipper Maid of the Seas was flying at 31,000 feet and traveling at a ground speed of 803 km per hour. At 19 hours 2 minutes and 44 seconds, Alan Top, the clearance delivery officer at Sharnik, transmitted its oceanic route clearance. The aircraft did not acknowledge this message. The Clipper Maid of the Seas squawk then flickered off. Air traffic